Hello. It is Friday, 8 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, depending on where you at. Welcome. Happy Friday. As usual, I'm always trying to figure out how to share this on my page. So 1 second. Take every Friday. I cannot figure this out. Ain't that crazy? Let's see here. Okay. Oh, here we go. There I am. Hello. Oh, wow. Now I'm talking to myself. All right, there we go. Share. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes till I figure this out. And there we go. Woohoo. All righty. So I am just going to wait a little bit, see if somebody joined. If not, I'm going to get started. So I'll just give it a minute. I know, I keep forgetting that this is going to actually be on YouTube, and I probably should say something, right? Hey, Mom, how are you doing? How was your week? Hey, Cynthia, how are you doing? How was your week? I'm asking everybody how their week is. Welcome. Happy Friday. Happy Juneteenth. What? I had purchased a shirt to wear today, but I didn't get it yet. So I just rocked my little, my fro earrings instead. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hey, Ash. Oh my God, I ain't seen you in forever. Everyone, Ash just had a brand new baby, everyone. Woohoo! Congratulate her. Yeah, it's been a week and it is over. This week is over. So as you know, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, but as you know, today we're going to be talking about detachment. Your week was good. You were feeling some kind of way today. What kind of way was you feeling, Mom? I'm good. I'm doing good. Right. Happy Juneteenth. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right. Cynthia is congratulating Asha for the baby. All right. So as Mom is before, I don't know if she's going to answer the question and let us know, but as usual, you guys are always welcome to join the live, and we can just talk together on the topics together. I put the link into the comments, so you are free to click the link and join it, and you can talk with me as we go through the stuff. You're missing Mom. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand missing Grandma. I miss her a lot. I was just thinking about her yesterday and then this morning. So it's just a day by day thing, Mom. I can't wait to see you. I'll give you a really big hug. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. Oh, let's just hug Mom. It's hard. I can't even imagine losing you, Mom. So I know this has got to be something that you have to, it's a day by day thing. The day by day thing. Love you, Mom. In the meanwhile, she's congratulating people and saying hello to everybody. So click the link, you guys. And same with Trinity right here. Hey, Trinity. Trinity graced her with her present. Somebody hit the link. And for a minute, I'll quit begging for you guys to hit the link to join the live. Oh, thanks, Ash. Thanks, Ash. We really do appreciate you. We really do. Oh, Mom, look at all this love that you're receiving. Hopefully you could feel the energy, Mom. The energy is really loving right now and supportive. So, Mom, I can't, like I said, I can't wait to see you, to give you a really big hug. So we're talking about detachment today. And I know it's weird to kind of transform over to that because of losing a mom. This is not has anything to do with life. It's just detaching from those things that don't serve us anymore. On Instagram, I had just put the definition on there, which is to disengage from something or part of something and remove it. So basically, it is. Oh, I got some people on here. Basically, it is. Hey, Trinity. Hey, Mom. Are both of you guys on here?
Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
okay. Hey, ladies, how you doing?
Pretty good.
hey,
Pretty.
Trinity.
Hey, Ma.
Hey, wow, I got a full house.
Hey,
Hey, cousin, how are you doing? You said you tried to click it, but it didn't work.
hey,
I don't know if it's because they clicked it at the same time.
She might have to like come out of Facebook and go back in and click it again.
Okay, you heard Trinity?
That's what I did.
Okay. Hey, cousin, how are you doing? All right, so
hi,
we're talking.
Jessica.
We're talking about. Oh, go ahead, Mom.
I didn't say nothing. I was just speaking.
Okay, so we're talking about detachment. So what I wrote on the Instagram page was during last laugh, which was last laugh, we mentioned this week's topic of detaching. Oh man, I lost it. Uh there we go. Detaching, life has a way of shaking up our plans and throwing off our timelines. When this happens, we need to have some level to be flexible to edit our plans. When we hold so tightly to our original plan, we may risk a greater opportunity. Wait a minute. What am I saying? When we hold so tightly to our original plan, we may risk a greater opportunity. This misdirection might take us. So we're talking about letting go of things that no longer serve us. How do you guys feel about detaching, or and that's the first question, like why do you feel that detachment is important?
Well, you have to shed old
Uh,
dead weight in order to grow and progress.
Right.
So attachment is very necessary and vital to growth and moving forward. Because if not, you'll stay in the same spot. But detachment is so hard.
It is. It is hard because you have to actually let go. And we think by holding on to things that we're actually controlling the situation, but really it's controlling us. That's what I'm learning about holding on to things so tightly, you know?
That's
Um,
a great way to put it. Yeah, when you hold on to stuff, you're actually powerless. And I agree with you, Renita. When you hold on to stuff, you think that you're in control, but the thing or person or situation you're holding actually really controlling you and is toxic too.
yeah, it's very toxic. I think we losing mom though. Mom, you there? We'll wait for mom to come in. But you're right. But you're right. You think that you have power, but you're powerless to that situation. That's why it's important to release it and let go.
I
I,
can't.
Hama?
I can't.
Okay.
She having some audio. She, I
She
guess she.
is. She had that last time. I'm gonna remove it and see if she'll call back. Okay, so yeah, so that is so why do you guys think it's important to detach the people in the comments? She'll come back.
I can't see the comments.
I know. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. So of course I have an article here, and I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. But it is a little couple. It is this little section right here. I thought it explained really well why it's important to let things go. It says because with attachment comes a very strong urge to control the circumstances. What we just said. While you can exercise some amount of control over what happens in your life, that will absolutely never eliminate the possibility of things going haywire or the possibility of your plans and ambitions not quite turning into reality. You put yourself at risk because you put so much of yourself into something unwilling to believe that there's a tiny chance that it might not quite work out the way you plan. And how many
Hmm.
times did that happen to us where we just we put every ounce of energy into something, into a relationship, into a
A
job,
job.
into an endeavor, and it's just not working. And we see that it's not working, but we keep trying and we keep trying. It's almost like you in a video game, and how I do the video game, because I can't control the joystick, but the character's just walking against the wall. It's not going anywhere. And that's kind of the movement that you're stuck at when you're constantly trying to try to get something to work that just is not workable anymore. Trini, any comments on that?
You know what? I think that as much as detachment is toxic and not healthy, I think there's a level of comfort in whatever person or situation you're attached to. So I know for me in the past with relationships, jobs, friendships, my detachment stemmed from a level of comfort because it was familiar to me. It's much scarier to start over, meet new people, start a new job, move to a new place. So I know for me in the past, detachment, it was hard for me to detach because of my level of comfort.
Um, so did you make yourself uncomfortable to let it go?
In some situations, yeah, but in other situations, it took me a long time to detach, a very long time, because it was like, if I leave this, is there better? Will there be better? Is it a better job, a better person, a better friendship? So I stayed because, again, it was comfortable, but there was also that fear of, what if there's nothing else out there? What if I leave this situation or person or job that I know is not good for me, it's not conducive to the lifestyle that I want, I'm not progressing. When I leave, what happens then? So I've always struggled with detachment just because of the fear of the unknown or not being able to move on to a situation that might be better. I've gotten better at it, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, most definitely. And oh, I skipped one. Hey Celia, how are you doing? And Cynthia says detachment is necessary when growth or healing is needed. Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to detach to the positive things when you're trying to heal, just to get that space, to just be, because sometimes our positive response is it's still a responsibility. So sometimes we have to detach from our responsibilities just to get some, just to center ourselves, so to speak. And Celia says, my detachment problem was in regards to people because I thought time would either change them or I can't fix them. And that's powerful. When you learn
I
that you cannot
agree.
control people or their thoughts or their actions, or you can't change people, so to speak, you will free up so much energy,
Mm-hmm.
so much space, so much time, the only thing you can't control is you,
But you
you
know
know.
what? And Renita, you may be able to speak to this, and maybe even Asha, I believe, like from a clinical standpoint, detachment, the whole process, like it's deep rooted. You have to think about the relationship, the connection,
Right,
gaslighting, how people manipulate and do things, and you become attached to an idea, you become attached to what you want a person to be. And Celia just made a great point. Sometimes we stay in situations, jobs, relationships, friendships, because we're hoping that at some point they'll change or we can change them.
right, right, exactly. She says now she just say deuces. But you have to grow to say deuces, because I
Yeah,
know that I know I have an obsessive nature, and I don't even know if I should still learn here, but she can contest to this. Like, so I can have a great day and somebody will say something or do something to me and it'll my whole day messed up. I would let that
I
control
think that's a
my
Taurus thing.
entire day. You
I'm
probably
the same
experienced
way.
that too.
I'm the
Yeah,
same
it,
way.
it will just mess up my whole day because this person didn't say what I thought they should have said, or they didn't act the way I thought they should act. So now I let that whole situation
Hmm.
just control my entire day. It controlled my emotions, everything.
I'm
When
that way
it
too.
when tomorrow, in the next 5 minutes, did it really matter? In the
Hmm.
next day, did it even matter? And that person have moved on. They're enjoying their day. Meanwhile, I'm
And they
sitting
don't
there
care.
just upset about it all day.
But you know what I've learned? Like detachment doesn't
Hey,
feel
Chris.
good. Hey, Christian. She just pops up. I love her. You know what I've realized? Like detachment, like it feels, well, when you're attached to someone and you're trying to detach, it feels a certain way. Like I know for me in situations where there's been a job, a relationship, or a friendship, I know when it's time to detach because I have feelings that come with wanting to detach.
Mm-hmm.
But for like I said, I struggle with it. Like for me, I've had issues where I'm like, I know I need to detach from this situation because I'm anxious around them, or I'm frustrated around them, or I have fear of what they might say, or just all of these emotions that arise when I'm around this person or interacting with them.
Mm-hmm.
And those are signs that you need to detach. But like Celia said, sometimes you want to stay hoping they'll change or you can change them. Or like I said, you're really afraid of, if I leave this job, this person, this situation, what is on the other side of this detachment? Like, what does that look like for me?
Right. Right, exactly. So it's also fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't what you just said, fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
If I let this go, now what?
What's next? Yeah. And the
Right.
unknown is, the unknown. Some people enjoy the unknown and not knowing what's next. I know for me and Renita, you're kind of the same way. We don't like to not know what's coming or what's
Exactly. I
next,
need to
or
know.
how
I
it
need to know the
looks.
narrative.
And people like me and you, we have stayed, and we've known each other a very long time. We have
Right.
stayed in very detached slash toxic situations, friendships, whatever, because we are literally scared out of our minds of what's next. Like we've had conversations about life situations, and you've told me before in relationships, Trinity, why won't you just leave? And I'm like, I don't know what's on the other side, but I know this. So
Right.
it's a lot of stuff that comes with detachment. Is And when you think of like trauma bonding with like children and relationships and just friendships, like when you bond through trauma in certain situations, that detachment becomes that much harder because you've experienced so much with this person or this job or whatever.
Right. I agree. Cynthia said, Celia, it took me a while to get there.
I'm
That's why I
still
say
trying
it
to get
takes a
there.
minute to let go because you'll say one day, you know what, I'm never talking to them again. Then the next
Yeah.
day you texting them like, but why? Can we work this out? And then you find yourself graveling and crawling to a toxic person. Somebody that really don't need to be there, because of what we just said. Oh, but it's so many people in the world, but we want to hold tight to the familiar, like you just said, you know. So
But you know what? With detachment, people, we
oh,
like
she's
to be
here.
connected to
Yeah.
someone or something. Oh, she is there.
Hmm.
People, we like to be connected to stuff because if you don't feel connected, some people have no identity. So I also think detachment means disconnection. And a lot
Right.
of people don't. If I disconnect from this job, what am I? Like I know I
Right.
work with a lot of detectives who eventually retire, go on, and a lot of them, they struggle post retirement, that detachment, because they've been in law enforcement for 20, 30 years. And they're like, who am I? What am I outside of this job that I've had 20 plus years?
Right.
I've met women that leave marriages, relationships, 5, 10, 15 years, and they're like, what am I? Who am I outside of this? And they feel so disconnected. Like they literally, it's like you have to recalibrate and really figure out who and what you are post the relationship or the job. So I get why a lot of people don't detach. It's literally like you're a rebirth, like you're starting over.
Right. Because some people's job is their identity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like have you ever met somebody and the first thing they say is what they do?
I used to, I've been in my job almost 6 years, and because I was so like attached to it, which I still am, I love what I do. All I knew was my job. So when people would ask me about myself, I would be like, oh, I do this, I do that. I did have to detach a little bit from who I was personally and professionally. And it was uncomfortable because I had to say, well, when somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, why do you go straight to your job? And I really
Hmm.
had to work through detaching from my persona as it relates to work, and realizing that when people were asking me about myself, they really wanted to know about Trinity, not about what I did, for my profession.
Right. Right. And so Kristen is pretty good with detaching. It's just some people can do it though.
Yeah.
Like I admire those people. It only take one time and they like, do you talk to such anymore? No, why? They showed me themselves. I believe
And
them.
I've
There's
always
some
loved
people
that
that
about her.
believe people the first time around.
I've
And
always
it's
loved that
hard to
about
get
her.
back in. Huh?
I've always loved that about her because since
Yeah, Kristen be like so.
I met you, Renita, when I was 20, and she has been like that since I met you.
Yeah, since a kid. She's
Yes.
always been like that. Yeah. Celia, I
So,
put the link on there. Mom says she's agree with you. Yeah, Krista can easily detach. Hey, mommy Tamika. She says you miss
Tamika,
them, their presence. That's right. You miss the familiar. You
right?
miss the
Even if it's
familiar,
toxic, even if it's bad. you miss it because you have that bond and connection.
Right. We got Celia on the line. Hey.
I look a hot mess.
She said I look a hot mess.
So
You
Celia,
do
even though
not look
you're
a
on
hot
here
mess.
now, you said you had abandonment issues, so you did not want people to feel that way.
But then
Right, but I feel like when you have abandonment issues, that's where that codependency grow.
Yeah.
well, I think the fact is that it wasn't me having codependency on them. It was the fact that like I didn't like the way I felt when I was abandoned, like by my dad or how my mom used to abandon me. So I never want people to feel that way, especially if they were family. But then I realized, it's not my responsibility to feel that way. It's not my responsibility to make sure you don't feel that way. That's your growth. That's for you to understand where your interpersonal problems are. And so I had a hard time because like my husband used to yell at me all the time. We used to get into arguments and he'd be like, you need to let that person go. They ain't doing nothing for you. All they doing is they only call you when they want something. And it was like especially hard with one of my nieces at the same age as Nicole. She would only call me when it was convenient for her. So it was like I had to detach myself to let her know like, yeah, I'm here for you, but I'm not going to be that person for you where
Right.
you could just call me when you want $50 because you want to make up some lie about something, and when it comes, I give you $50. Comes to find out you really don't need it for that reason. So, there was like certain things, like certain people in my life that I had detached from, in order for me to be like, because it got to the point where it was like I was taking care of everybody else's problems, but not my own.
Right, exactly. You forget about yourself. And this is a point I want to make. Some people know that you're like that you know what abandonment feel like, and they play that against you. Sometimes people use these attachments to their advantage and to manipulate you, and they use your past to make you feel constantly guilty so that you could continue to do what they want you to do. That's another reason why attaching is a bad thing.
The crazy part is sometimes attachment is the only way you can learn how to grow. And the reason why I say that is because both of you could contest to the fact when I was separated from my husband, that's the only way I learned how to grow without depending on someone else's feelings or just the fact that like, you know what, showed the true people in my life.
Right.
So by me seeing their true colors and not the fact of like them being able to say, oh, you did this, you did that, or, little things here and there, I felt that was the easiest part because the main person that I didn't want to detach from was detaching from me.
Right. And that's God right there. Sometimes God just gotta rip the Velcro. Like, you know what? Let him do something so bad. And you're not gonna forget it this time. And I feel like that's happened to me a couple of times. Like, man, why would they do a thing like that? But you don't see me trying to call that person no more either. Asha says she has the opposite issue. She detaches too easily. She always wants to see if there is something better. So you're okay with the unknown.
I used to be like that.
But that's okay, Ash. You can't detach from me. Ask Trinity and Renita.
Never. But yes, sometimes
once I befriend you, that's it.
But sometimes when you want to know the unknown, you kind of step over people that really love. Not saying Asha does this, but this is a scenario. Sometimes when you want something better, you kind of don't pay attention to the people in your life that are for you.
Yeah.
What if these are your people?
Your
So
tribe.
it is a disadvantage if you detach too much. Mom says she's learning. Kristen says I don't have time to play around. So you just dropped out. I don't have any time to play
some of that my way.
Hey, she says no, you don't, Chris. Kristen don't play. She don't play games
but
at all.
You know what? It's so weird because when I was younger, I was a lot like Kristen. The older I've gotten, I have more patience because that was something I prayed for. But through my, learning patience, I do have issues with detachment more now than I ever have in my life, in my 34 years of life. In my teens and 20s, my patience was really short. So I would cut people off, no explanation, didn't really care how I made them feel. It was like, goodbye, I'm over it, move on.
Right.
I realized, like you said, Renita, I was cutting some relationships short or too soon that were vital in my growth and in my life. And some of those people that I cut off prematurely, I look back now and I'm like, that wasn't the person to detach from like that, in that way, in that manner, that fast.
Right.
But again, because I'm more patient now I do struggle with detachment in situations where it's like, I need to stop this, I need to leave this. But my patience is like, well, let me give them a little more time and let me wait to see if they'll change. Let me see if they'll turn around. So it's very, very weird. I prayed for patience, but I've learned more patience has allowed me to stay in situations longer than old Trinity, 20-year-old Trinity would have.
Because you're trying to give people chances, and that's where the spirit of discernment comes in. That's when the Holy Spirit tap you and be like, okay, you was patient enough, that's enough. Or sometimes we misidentify the person's purpose in our life. Like you meet a person and you date them, maybe that wasn't a person you were supposed to date. Maybe that was just a person you're just supposed to be friends with, you know? Sometimes we don't give a relationship a chance to define what it actually is. We jump off impulse, we jump off emotions, and we ignore all those red flags about that person. Like sometimes you'll just end up being friends or dating somebody that ain't even your type or type of person, don't even have the same personality as you. You know, and those type of people I feel are seasonal people. You know, some of them are seasonal people, you know.
But sometimes we also detach people short term when we don't wanna when they tell us something that we don't want to hear about ourselves. So we'll detach them for a short period of time because we don't want to have to deal with.
We get uncomfortable.
Right.
Right.
And I'm that friend that will harass you and be like, you ain't gonna detach
from
me.
I don't think it's a harassment, Celia. I think it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Like, okay, you're holding on to this thing, to this behavior, but why? It's not serving you. Why? So I think it's a challenge, and I think that's important in a relationship. I feel like, what's the purpose of being in a relationship if you just gonna pet me on my head all the time and not correct? Because I'm not always right, so it's unrealistic that you agree with every decision that I make. You know, and it's not hinging my decisions on what somebody's saying, but some things can be so far-fetched where a friend is just like, nah, bro, I don't think you need to do that. Like, you might, I don't think you should go that way, you know.
Partner comes in, accountability friend, family member, or even your spouse. Because there's plenty of times that, like, Trinity and you were like, no, Celia, that's not right. And I've been, like, trying to give you every reason why, like, no. And then, there was one time that I was, like, telling, like, you and Trinity, you guys, I don't think you guys even talked to each other at the time. And I was telling you the same situation, but I would go from one to you to hopefully I would get the answer I wanted to hear.
Nah, we don't tell you the truth.
Then
the crazy part is that there was one time that both of you guys said the same thing, and literally, like, I hung up with one person and called the other one, and you were like, Celia, stop playing God. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to talk to neither one of you. Bye.
But that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. So once you detach from the situation, then we got a chance to reattach, because like you just said, sometimes you need to detach to realize if it's worth the attachment.
No, I get that, because you and I went through that, Renita.
Yeah.
We've had moments in our friendship where it was bumpy, and Celia was always like, y'all need to figure this out, because I'm going to be your friend. Like, figure it out, wrap it up. But we've had times where we've openly expressed, like, she was like, y'all need to figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm honest.
Renita and I have had times where we've been like, okay, we got to take a step back. We got to detach for whatever reason. And we come back, and it's always, I will say, every time we've come back, it's gotten better. Because I think our detachment came with the phases and places we were in our life.
Exactly.
And at one point or another in the situation, I definitely was probably toxic to Renita and not a good friend and not a good person, even though she wanted me in her life and I wanted her in my life. And it was times I felt Renita might not have been the best person, even though we wanted each other in our lives. And the good thing about this topic is we've experienced it with each other in our friendship, and we've had to say, let's detach and we'll figure this out. If it's meant for us to be friends, we will. And we've always come back better and stronger. There's times and we've been able to talk.
There was a time when me and Trinity just didn't talk, and we were sitting there like, we don't even know why.
Yeah.
and Renita you just need space, man.
Well,
sometimes
you were the reason. You were like, you need to talk to Trinity and you need to talk to Celia, because I was going through something at the time. And I had talked to Renita about it, and you and I just shut down from Celia. And Renita was like, look, I done told her she needs to talk to you. And I told you need to talk to her. Leave me alone. Figure it out. And
because she had knowledge I didn't. She had wisdom that I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I mean, I'm a listening ear, but I don't have the advice. I don't have the knowledge of this.
So
you need to contact her.
Since we're talking about just attachment, why don't we also talk about the traits of people that we need to attach to? Because
know
those
what?
are things we
Before we
talk
do
about all
that,
the reasons
you want to read
why
some time? Okay, go ahead, Sylvia.
we talk about all the reasons why we should detach from somebody, but why don't we talk about the traits of people that we need to attach to?
Yeah.
Because
true,
like
but
for instance, there's certain situations in my life and certain trial and tribulations that I went through that I had wisdom on that you and Trinity don't, just vice versa. And
right.
Trinity just
Trinity will come back. She'll
she's
come
gonna
back.
walk out. No, she's just walking
Yeah,
out this
so
time.
while we waiting on Trinity, Kristen said, yes, you have that bond, but sometimes that bond isn't worth the trouble that it brings. You being attracted to that person. Exactly. And Tamika says she's right. Mama said you're right. Mama just agreeing. Then she says, yep, those true colors will help you detach quickly. Yes, they will. I always had this rule, 3 months. Like when I was single, you can only pretend to be whatever you pretending to be for 3 months. It will eventually come out. You will not. Eventually, it's gonna come out because you can't hold yourself in that. You can't bottle yourself up.
Well,
For that.
it depends because I could honestly contest that. Like for years, I was a manipulator. I was a compulsive liar. I would manipulate the situation to avoid the conflict, and everything like that. And that goes back to what I was actually taught from like my mom and my family members because that's what they did. So it was like, and I brought that into my marriage, and my husband was like, "Fuck, no, you ain't going, nope." No, you gonna hold. You kept holding me accountable, and there was a point where I was like, "I'm not even talking to you." I would just shut down because I didn't know how to handle those situations because I was never taught to. That's not how we handle things. So it's like I had to learn. I had to like learn everything.
Yeah, that you make a good point, Celia. I do think, like you just said, you weren't taught, to handle certain things or how to navigate certain things in life. A lot of people don't know how to detach, Renita and Celia. Like they weren't taught proper detachment. They weren't taught proper attachment. And you made a great point, Celia. Like let's talk about the type of things and people we want to be attached to.
And why we want to be attached to people. Because at one point I was attached to people only because I wanted to feel some type of love. Like they filled some type of void that I didn't get from certain people.
There you go. There you go. So when you figure out, and this is a good point too, when you figure out when you are having a hard time letting something go, that is the time to find the root cause as to why.
Yeah.
Why am you're blatantly not well for me. You're just blatantly toxic. Why can't I let you go? Is it because I don't want to be alone? Is it because you're comfortable? Is it because I don't want to move out of my comfort zone? So I use you as an excuse so I can stay stagnant.
All of
So
the
when
above.
things don't work out, I could be like, it's their fault.
Yep.
The crazy part is you asked me that question when I was talking to you about my separation with my husband and like the whole situation that we had. And, I have no problem talking about my truth, how he was stepping out of our marriage and, things of that sort. And then it was like, you were like, let me ask you this. Why do you want to stay? And when I explained it to you, you were like, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't expect.
Do you want this because you want this, or do you want this because you're afraid of what other people gonna say, or you don't want to start over, or it could be so many. But if you
also asked me one thing, because the thing is, that I'm a very competitive person. I like to win, and you were like, "Is it about you winning, or is it about the fact that you actually want to make it work?" Right. So like you and Trinity, the crazy part is you and Trinity actually said the same thing, and I was like, I want to talk to neither one of y'all, but but it was just the fact that
that's the truth. Like when if it's worth the attachment, okay, but if you're just attaching just for the sake of attaching to something because it's making you uncomfortable to move on, I don't think that's healthy. Like I don't.
But then when I explained like my part, like okay, let me explain this to you. If you were married and this happened, and explaining my part of my faults in my marriage and why this and this happened, this is the reason why I want to stay, or this is the reason why I feel it's worth staying. When I explained it to you, you were like, you and Trinity both were like, okay, you know what? I only saw it one side. I didn't see it in a different perspective. I only looked at the outside looking in.
You had some real reasons, though. You had some real good reasons. And Asha says that's the problem I've had with friendships and relationships and jobs. Just looking for the next best thing, huh, Ash? But Ash, you've been married for a while, so that's an attachment that you have stuck with.
Her and Charles are their attachment.
But my question to her is, what drove you to stick with it? Because if you're a person that's looking for the next best thing, what made you stick with it? Mom says, right, Nita. My mom says, "Be careful what you pray for. You just might get it, baby." That is so
And
true.
sometimes you get it when you're not ready.
That is so true.
And you're not ready, and that's why it's important to say, "God, can you prepare me for such thing?"
Or you get
Because
it and you
you
don't
can
want
ask
it.
him for money, and you'll blow right through it if you don't ask for financial literacy.
Exactly. Like for instance, like right now, like, you know, with all the COVID-19 stuff going on, there's people that have like small businesses, and you're able to get like, you know, apply for the small business association loans, the grants or whatever. And I have seen people that actually got money and they don't even know how to handle it because they prayed for the money, but they didn't pray for like guidance of how to use it. So now it's like you got all this money, within 2 weeks you spent it on what?
Yeah. That's something I've learned in my journey and getting closer to God. And Celia knows that I've been getting closer to God in the last year. And I think I shared it with Renita. I had to learn not only to pray for what, you know, to make sure that I prayed for what I wanted, but to pray. I prayed for how to keep it, how to maintain it, how to be smart in it, how to be literate in certain things, and how to make good decisions when God does give me what I've asked for. Because
Amen.
I learned that God will sometimes say, "Here you go," at the wrong or right time, and even when you're not ready, just to show you, to humble you. And so I've learned the older I get, oh God, I want, let's just say I want a new car. Great. Am I maintaining the car I have now, and am I prepared for an upgrade? So for me, I'm learning in life, like it's good. Tell God what you want. Tell him the desires of your heart. He will give it to you. But you also have to make sure that God, when you deliver this, make sure that I am equipped to keep it, to maintain it, to make it grow, to make it beneficial for myself and my family, the people around me. So I'm glad Celia brought that up. Like, we pray for a lot of things in life,
Just
the
make sure you put
man,
a
the
little bit of
husband, the
content.
car, but I don't think we pray for the maintenance around it, the knowledge around it, and how to keep it and maintain it.
Right. I had to mute her because I think she was talking to somebody.
I think she's talking to the kids.
Okay, so my mom says, here's the thing: people detach from you like you don't matter, but when you return the favor, they can't take it.
Oh,
Man,
you are right, Ma. That is so true. I have had people do me so dirty in life with different things, and Renita and Celia, I pretty much tell them everything. But when
Sorry, I thought
I've
I put it on
done,
mute.
it's okay. When I've
I
done to
keep
people
muting
what
you.
they've done to me, it's like, oh, Trinity, you're this bad person. You did this to me. And it's like, no, let's be very clear. I only did this because I had to protect myself.
Right, right, and that makes sense. Yep, space presents growth. My cousin Bernita, do y'all see how similar
I
that name
do.
is?
Bernita
I say,
and Renita.
I swear I was named after her. I don't care what my parents say. But she says I can relate. I made the decision to let my best friend go because she was going through a lot. So I detached myself before our friendship ended on bad terms. Wow. That had to be a tough decision to
Yeah.
let something go that wasn't even bad yet. You know, you
Yeah.
just saw the future and was like, this gonna go haywire. So before it get worse, let me just separate
But
myself.
that's
That's a
discernment.
mature decision, though.
That's discernment.
Very
Bernita was able to be like, you know what, this might not end well. So before I lose this relationship, this friendship that is important to me, I'm going to detach for now. Because you can always go back. Like I said about
right.
you and I, Renita, we've had detachable moments. We always came back, but we needed those detachable moments to get closer, get stronger, get build our friendship, make it better. But we also needed that time to fix whatever was going on in our personal lives.
Exactly. And that sometimes that time is needed because when you're going through stuff and your emotions all over the place, you bound to do unintentionally do or say things you cannot take back. And there are some
Yeah.
things you can't come back from. So before it
Yeah.
gets to that point, you know what? Let me just take a break. A
Yeah.
break in life before I mess this entirely. I just screw this
But
all up.
sometimes detachment also teaches you a lesson to where you could grow and how you also look at other situations. Like there's plenty of people that I detach from, and I'm like, you know what? After like multiple people kind of said the same thing, I'm like, okay, is it really me? And I have to self reflect, and I'm like, you know what? Even though this person may not be my friend, let me just make sure they know and understand that, hey, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong in this situation. You can either, do it or not. But at the same time, it's like also I learned that through those processes, sometimes it's you need those breaks from other people for you to be able to understand what God's trying to tell you as well.
Exactly. And Asha says she stayed married only because of God. Well, praise God, because we love the intims.
Your mama said COVID has taught her a
COVID
lot.
has taught her so much. Yet I wish her
Dude,
phone was
COVID has
working because
taught
she's
me.
always talking about that.
COVID has taught me a lot about my damn marriage.
It
COVID
is because
came
you in the
through.
house with this person. You have no distractions. If you used to run here, there, everywhere, it eliminated all of that. You're
Well,
gonna
I
sit on this
realized
couch
that
and you're gonna learn this
a
person
very
you're married to.
right. I had realized I'm a very patient person because, like, right now, my husband does photography and everything. So right now, it's like it hit him really hard. So he not only is he stressed, but also the fact that like he's at home and he's always on the move, so he didn't know how to
He don't know
slow
how to
down.
be still.
He don't know how to
Right.
sit
Right.
down.
So me and Nicole, my 19-year-old daughter, we were like, he needs to leave the house. He needs to do something. Like we were trying projects for him to do so he could leave. Like I'm like, you know what? While I'm at work, can you go to the grocery store so he would leave them alone?
So you want him to detach from the home.
She's sending him.
Get
She's sending
out.
him on missions.
Yes.
Right.
And then he got to
Mom
the point
says
where like when
God.
I had to go back to work full time, like they made us go back to work, like I'm back at work full time. He was like, he's like, I don't want you getting on the dirty orange line. You don't know it's like coronavirus city over there. He was like, so I'm gonna
Not
drive you to
coronavirus city.
yes. And then he was like, I'll drive you to work and pick you up. I'm like, man, that's like my time to myself on the trip.
Still, you're
My
like, I
cousin
don't want the
Destiny is
ride
on
to
here. Hey,
work.
Destiny. My mom says she decides not to be the sacrificial lamb. So it seems like,
Oh,
Mom, you're on the
wow.
other side of detachment. You feel like people are detaching from you, and more so you're being utilized as a tool more than being appreciated as a person.
Well, I appreciate
That kind of seemed what it feels like with that comment.
That's an
I
interesting
appreciate you,
perspective.
Sandra. I appreciate you. Because of you is why we have Renita. I appreciate you.
Bernita says, yes, you can go back. Now we talk all the time. I had to learn not to ownership of my friend issue and just be a listening ear. Right.
That's
Once
so hard,
again,
though.
attaching. Sometimes we can attach to other people's problems. And I found myself in that situation where I'm just listening to everybody's problems. Then everything that I've heard from there, I'm mad and I'm an empath. So I feel it. So I come home, Derek felt the whole wrath. And he's like, well, what
What's
did I
wrong?
do? You just walk through the door, or I'll be crying for days, or I'm laying in the bed. And then when I'm searching through, not saying my life is perfect, but most of those problems weren't mine. I'm attaching to other people's problems, trying to figure out their problems. Meanwhile, they sleeping at night.
Yeah, because
they're doing what they want to do.
They've dumped their negative energy into you.
Like
that's the dumpster effect.
I had to detach from a lot of people with with everything going on with the Black Lives Matter and everything like that, because a lot of people I didn't know had hidden racism or hidden bigotry. And now with their posts on social media and how they like reacted to a lot of things, I had to detach myself. And there's a person that I had been friends with since I was like in grammar school that just didn't understand the fact, and I had to explain to her white privilege, and she didn't understand it. And then she was like, well, you're half white. I said, technically I'm only a third of white because my family is mostly from Croatia and Mexico. So at the end of the day, I'm really more European, which is still considered an immigrant as well as a person of color. So at the end of the day, I'm more of that than I am anything. And when I identify myself, I'm a person of color, and so are my children. And so we had like this big go out, and she was just like, and then we had this big decision. I had to make a big decision in regards to detaching from that relationship, because she didn't see, I had to make a conscious choice, and me and my husband had to make a conscious decision that people that didn't understand what the Black Lives Matter indicated, and also the fact that if you didn't understand it and you didn't support it, then you don't support my family.
Exactly. And for the record, anyone that don't know, Celia is married to an African American, so her children are mixed, which is why, yeah. And I know you've had issues in your family about that, but I don't think that'll go a whole nother subject if we go down the Black Lives Matter thing. So I'm not gonna keep going into that.
Well, I'm just saying that right now,
because that's a whole nother wavelength.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like right now, I'm going through a big detachment right now. I could honestly say, because of everything that has happened, I have literally detached myself for at least 60 people.
Oh my Lord, that's like a
You
small
say
family.
63 people?
60 people, at least 60 people. I had to unfollow them from all
You
social media
counting?
content, and I only have Facebook.
She's like detach.
One, two.
No,
She
because
making a tally mark.
well, you know me, I'm analytical, so I analyze everything. So I like counted because I'm like,
That's
nope,
that Virgo.
nope, nope. Yes, that's that Virgo.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Taurus,
So my
we
cousin,
don't keep count. We just go.
yeah, Tauruses they don't.
Yeah.
Gemini's, I don't. We're so busy looking at
Well,
who
I'm
not
married to a
talking to us, we don't
Taurus,
even
so I
notice.
don't know what. I don't know
Yeah.
what's
Tauruses
worse.
and
I'm married to
Gemini's,
a Taurus.
when we detach, we not counting. We sometimes we be like, oh yeah, I forgot I was
But
friends
you
with
know
this
what?
person.
You know what I realized about
love
Tauruses and Geminis is that you guys would detach without even actually letting people know that you detach from them.
That's
Like
the best part, and I was
my
That's
just
the
about
best
to
part.
say
my
that we
husband
set
will turn around
imaginary
and
boundaries.
detach.
So you, right? You
My
think
husband
we
will
cool
turn
and we
around
not?
and my husband will turn around and be like, I don't mess with this person. I'm like, well, then unfollow them from all social media platforms. He was like, why? That means that I'm putting effort. I want them to know I put effort in it.
Yeah, that's how I am.
And I'm just
Like
like,
you have to
no.
really
My
push
thing is,
me
if
to
I'm
the edge for
detaching
me to
you, you don't
remove
need to know
you off
nothing about
social
my
media.
life.
You have to
Because
really put me in a different position. Because if I don't mess with you, I won't mess with you. But I won't delete you or block you. But when you push me to the limit of like, that's it. There's no coming back. You are blocked, blacklisted, removed,
Yeah, Trinity real.
erased,
She don't care who it
deleted.
is.
You're done. Like it's like, wait a minute. Did
I was
Trinity
blocked and
change her
removed from
number?
Trinity for a while.
It's like did Trinity
I didn't even have her
change
new
her
number at
number?
one point.
Trinity changed the number. Trinity probably
Trinity,
moved to a
dude, she's
different
so
country.
quick. She's so quick. She'll be texting. This my new number. Don't tell nobody. What?
Renita
Who are you running from?
Renita met me when I was 20 and I used to I don't want to be bothered. I would change my number. Renita would be like, would you please you change your number like every quarter? And I'm like, people upset me. I got to keep it moving. And she would be like, please keep this number. But I've had this number for like 2-3 years. So
You doing good.
But
You doing good.
but that's the thing. Like you gave me this number through social media because at one point me and you weren't. It wasn't like we like fell out. It was just kind of like, oh, whatever. She doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. It was just kind of like.
And then
whatever.
when you're not working together no more, you kind of just separate from people, just getting just different lives, you know.
It takes effort to maintain those relationships when you start
Boy,
working together.
let's not even get into that.
Yeah,
so my cousin Destiny said, yes, I do the same. It's hard to avoid being standoffish because I get attached so easily.
Same.
I don't attach easily, but when I attach, boy, I'm attached.
I'm like, locked in for life.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to shake a person. It takes a minute for me to shake a person for real.
Like when me and Trinity got back into contact, I told him like, lady, I told you when we first started talking, and I even told Ebony, you know, where the Ebony that we worked with at Pierce, that like, you know, and she's not like a very conversational person. I'm like, guess what? Once I befriend you, that's it. We don't have to talk for years.
Yeah, Celia doesn't detach. She doesn't. She's like what's that? A tick? She just stick her head in your skin.
Not a tick.
And you can't. She's in there. She don't burn.
But you're gonna remember me. But you're gonna remember me. I'm gonna leave my mark.
Celia play too much.
I will hurt you. I will leave my mark.
Yeah. So my mom says, yes, Nita, you take on the whole person. I do.
You do.
My cousin says, yes, then you stress out and get mad.
Yeah.
You have to learn to vote for you.
Oh, I like that.
Love
that. Vote for you. I like that.
I need to make my own polls then.
And when you're in the process of detaching, that's what you have to think. I don't know if you guys watch Sex in the City, but Samantha's signature line was, I love you, but I love me more. And
that was my problem.
So sometimes you have to know, most times you have to let go of things that is just going to be gut wrenching. People you've been knowing forever, like Celia said, or emotions, or that old life that you planned and it didn't pan out. You have to let that go, like heart desires. You may have to let go. You know, because it's some things that's out of your control that you thought would happen but didn't. And you have to think, you know, if I stick to this stuff, if I stick to this plan that's going nowhere, I'm the only person I'm hurting is me.
The other problem that I have is that when I have people that are friends or family members, and it's another reason why it's hard for me to attach is because I get attached to their children. So like I'm attached to them and their children, and their children have nothing to do with what's going on. But if I end this relationship, I know that I can't have a relationship with their children. So that's another reason why sometimes I stay in longer relationships, because the fact is I love their children sometimes more than I love them.
Get the kids for the weekend. You ain't got to see them soon.
No, well, that's the thing is that there's a lot of people and adult people that act like children that will be like, oh, you know what? no, if you don't mess with me, you don't mess with my children. If I'm not good enough for you, you can't mess with my children.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like those are the people that like, you know, I really want to detach from, but it's like it's not a part with the kids.
Yeah.
And
But
then we love, my mom said once you get said, we love who we love. We have to make conscious and logical decisions with that love. Because
yeah.
love, I feel, is illogical. Love is straight
You
emotion
you know
to me.
what? I had a friend recently say to me that love is not logical, it's emotion. And we got into a conversation about it because I was like, no, love is logical. And the way they broke it down to me, they're like, love isn't logical because love will have you doing crazy things, behaving in a manner that is not, within reason or within your character or who you are. And the person was like, it's all emotional. When you're emotional, you do whatever comes to mind, whatever you feel.
But it
And
is
when I
logical
well,
because in the
I think it can be logical, but I also think it could be illogical too, depending on the relationship, the circumstances, and the situation. I never viewed love as illogical until I had this conversation with this person, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I can see that perspective, that viewpoint.
but
Maybe
in the
it's
Bible it
illogical when
states
you
that
want that
love is a
person
choice.
more.
Love is a
Yeah,
choice. So the
right.
thing is that you have to realize that when you start dating a person, you choose to date them. So you're choosing to allow yourself to have those feelings for that person. So it's all a choice and logical. The fact is that when you allow yourself to have those feelings, because you're choosing to have those feelings, is where you allow your heart to do it. But at the same time, is that if you're logically in tune with the Bible, it indicates that you're supposed to um, lead your heart, not follow it.
That is true, Celia.
That
You're
is true.
right. But sometimes when you're holding on to someone so tightly and you love that person more than you love yourself, that love turns illogical. Even though you choose to be with that person, but
Yeah,
if you're loving them all the wrong ways, and like I said, more than yourself, putting them
yeah,
over your dreams and your goals, it can turn quite illogical because anytime you choose someone over you, I feel is illogical.
yeah,
Because all you got is you at the end of the day. I mean, you and God, of course, but on this
yeah,
earth, you have you. So
yeah,
anytime you're putting someone else's needs over yours or putting your happiness, and I'm not saying in a selfish way, but I'm saying your overall happiness,
yeah,
you're forfeiting that for someone else. That's illogical.
yeah. That is. That is. Love will have you doing some crazy stuff. But I also think people misinterpret like infatuation and love, depending on who you are, it could feel and look the same.
Hmm.
Like I've met people and they've been in a
I've done
relationship and
both.
they're like, I've done both. I mean,
Same here.
I've been infatuated with people and thought it was love, and I've been completely in love with people to the point of being illogical in my behavior and my response because I was putting their wants and needs and desires before me. But I've
Right.
met women that's like, oh, I'm so in love and blah. And I'm like, well, tell me why you love them. And then when they name things, I'm like, that's really surface. That's infatuation. That's not love. Like
The
you
other,
barely scratched the surface. That's not love. It's infatuation
but
or adoration.
the other thing too is that
Right.
people also have a hard people also have a part that they don't understand. They feel that, you know, a lot of people don't understand that you could also fall in love with someone, but you could also fall out of love with someone. It doesn't mean that you don't love them as a person. You're just not loving what they're doing, and they get those two mixed up, and they feel that they have to detach because they don't have those feelings for them anymore. Just like in a marriage, that you could love someone for who they are and what they've been to you, but you could fall out of the person that they're becoming or who they have became. So at the same time, it's like you they have that detachment from you, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, you don't love me no more. It's no, they don't. They still love you as a person. They
They're
just
just
don't
not in
love.
love. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like
Well,
in love at the moment, but you could fall in and out of love with someone while you're married. Trust me, I have.
man, I wish you would
Yeah.
say that louder. The
Mm-hmm.
butterflies are not every day, and that don't mean you got to get a divorce. That don't mean you got to end it. But we're constantly evolving, and sometimes your mate or yourself is evolving into a different person, and then butterflies fly off. Then they come back, but it doesn't mean you don't love or like them.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
those butterflies don't. It goes in and out. It goes in
Right.
and out. You know.
But the problem is
So.
that people are more accepting of you having those detachment feelings than someone having those detachment feelings of you. So
Mhm.
like, you know, when, you know, I had the detachment feelings of my husband and, you know, did my infidelity, and then years later he did his, and that's why like a lot of people didn't understand why I was like, I'm gonna try to work this out, because I never dealt with the situation like I should have before, because I detached myself from that situation when he was trying to work on it. I was like, nah, bro, you either gonna accept it or leave it. And it was like, no, you can't do that. So I detached myself from the situation, and that made me that made him detached from me.
And that's a good point, Celia. Sometimes we immaturely or prematurely detach. And
Yeah.
that's where we can't heal. Because instead of me dealing with this, instead of me working on this, I'm just going to cut it. It's going to work itself out. I don't need to put any work in this. Who cares about a process? Let's just go back like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
That
And
is
then that's
also
when you
not
live life
healthy.
with the what ifs. That's when you live your
Yeah.
life with
So
the
now
what ifs.
you're
Like, what if I
coasting
would
and
have
you're
stayed
not
later?
dealing with
What
it.
if I would have done this? And that's why when a lot of people in my family, and that's where I also saw the true colors when all the things happened in my relationship and in my marriage, and it was like more so of the fact that, like, you know, I understand you don't understand it, but at the same time, if you don't respect it and you're going to talk about it behind my back, then you're not really for me. And at the
Right.
same time, it's like, until I feel ready and I feel that God's telling me, hey, you need to move forward with it, then that's the only time that I'm going to leave. And look, it took what? We were separated for almost 4 years. It took that time and patience, but at the same time, you and Trinity were like, work on yourself. And that's what I did. And trust me, as many times you guys see me at your events, you're like, you're glowing. I see you. I see it. And it was just like, even though I didn't have to say it, you guys saw it.
Because
Because
how
at this,
can you nurture someone else when you're forgetting you? It
right. And
goes
I
Yeah.
had
back
to
to
learn,
self-love. It goes back to self-love. When you love
Yeah.
yourself and have so much confidence, don't you know that spills out? The most confident people attract people not because they got some special power. It's people are attracted to how you feel about you.
Yeah.
If you wake up every morning and say, yes, this is me, I'm it, everybody else around you going, oh yeah, that's it.
She's
She's
it.
it.
Yeah.
She's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people are mirroring how you feel about you.
Yeah.
You
I
know, so
learned that just
when you attract people that are toxic and you're attracting the same type of person, you have to look within and see, wait a minute, what type of magnet
what's
going on
going
in
on.
here?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, my mom says exactly, evolution doesn't mean you don't love that person anymore. You are right. Well, ladies, it's like 56 minutes. Thank
That
you
went
guys
by
for trying to wrap. Do
fast.
y'all have anything else y'all want to add? Anybody in the comments have anything else you want to add?
I'm a very good accountability partner if you guys want one.
Oh my
Yes,
Lord.
she is.
She is.
Don't make you mad though.
I'm gonna say what I'm gonna end with what Kiki told me last night. We were having a text conversation,
Oh, I need to do a
and
photo shoot with her.
she said, TT, I'm going to bed now. I said, okay. She said, pray for me and I'll pray for you and mean it. And I said, this little girl is 9 going on 30. So I spent most of today telling people, pray for me and I'll pray for you and mean it. So that's how I'm going to end it.
I like
Aww.
that. She
She's
dropping
a
the mic.
she's 9. I'm telling you, she's a wise little owl.
She is very wise.
She
This
She
little
is.
girl
is,
been here before
and
twice.
her picture showed it when I said
Oh,
her.
it's my baby.
Yeah, yeah, her
Yeah.
little photo
So
shoot.
because this is Juneteenth, y'all want to tell everybody what you do before we log off?
What we do for Juneteenth?
No,
No,
what you
what
do
we
with the
do.
business.
I'm like,
I'm sorry, I didn't word that
what we
great.
do for
Can you let
Juneteenth
everybody know what
is
your
keep hope
business
alive
is?
and stay black.
Yeah, stay black, but what's your business?
T3 Life Coaching. I am going through a huge revamping phase. I'm redoing a bunch of stuff over, but life coaching, public speaking, seminars, workshops, all of that good stuff. My client base or my passion population is female, adult women, and female youth to help them get back on track, set business plans, set goals, all of that good stuff to get them, moving forward. Oh, all of my social media is T3 Life Coaching, and my website is www.t3lifecoaching.com.
WWT3 Life. I'm putting it in the comments. Coaching.
www.t3lifecoaching.com.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Your part like www, like it's another one. It's because World Wide Web. You were missing the W.
Whatever.
All
I'm
I
gonna
have
hang
to
up.
say is that we're gonna have to have a conversation about the fact you haven't contacted me to do any type of stuff for you. But okay.
Me?
So yes.
Celia, what do you do?
She
I do
does
everything.
everything. You didn't know? She
I
paints, she
know.
builds houses, she
I want her to tell
babysits,
us what. Plug
she does
yourself.
taxes.
So right now
See, it's about to be 50 things she do. Go ahead.
so the main thing I'm focusing right now is the fact that I do photography, mainly family and children.
Okay.
If you've seen Renita's pictures, I've done those.
Beautiful.
And then I also did Trinity's niece's pictures.
Beautiful.
I styled them too.
Yes.
And I did those. And then I also do, I'm trying to incorporate how I could do it because I really don't want to take on everyone's social media platforms because people get a little, they don't know what they want, and I don't got time for that.
Okay.
But I basically kind of like, I think I'm starting to transition to the fact where I'm going to do consulting for people's businesses, look at their stuff, figure out what's wrong with their social media platforms, find out their bases, and
That's
then
good.
basically just
That's
consult
awesome.
them and then let them know and help them and guide them to do their own social media stuff so they can learn how to do it and then they could do it themselves. So not only am I saving them money, but I could cut ties with them and detach right away.
Oh my
Good
Lord.
job. Do you have an email or something you want me to put in the comments?
It's just info@CeliaMariePhoto.com. That's just my emails right now.
We got our own emails.
Yes, because I'm a Virgo
though.
and I'm a since I'm a perfectionist, I keep doing my website and then I find something wrong with it and I keep changing it, so I have to stop being a perfectionist.
It's info@CeliaMariePhotography.com.
Photo.com.
Photo. Okay, sorry. Let me type that. Okay, ladies. Well, once again, I just want to thank you all for joining my live. This has been a great, great conversation. Everybody's been saying that in the comments. My cousin was singing Monica. It's just one of them days where I just want to be alone. Mom said it's a great live, and my cousin said it's a great live. So thank you, ladies, for joining. And I'll see you all next Friday. Bye.
You need an accountability partner. Tell Renita to give you my information.
We got it, Sarah. Bye.
Bye.